Hello, my movie peeps. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. My name is Chris. Let's dive into stuff we're going to discuss here today. Some of the stuff we're going to be talking about here is we got the confirmation of the Conjuring 4 actually happening, a report coming in letting us know that the Silver Surfer is getting a solo project, and a whole bunch of updates concerning the future of the Spider Bros, Toby, Andrew, and Tom. That along with so much more, so I'm going to need you guys to give me your opinions down below with everything we discuss here today. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Babbel. Babbel is the best language learning app you can download right now to start speaking a new language in 3 weeks. The lessons are all designed and created by real teachers. They also have a 20-day money-back guarantee. I currently have Babbel right now downloaded onto my smartphone. They've made it so intuitive and easy to start learning a new language. They also have a desktop version. For me, I love how interactive and easy the app is. My significant other has been asking me forever to take her to Paris. I don't want to know because I don't want to sound like a doofus not speaking the language, but with Babbel, I can learn a few things.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. I'm there already! So here with the app, I can continue on with lesson 4 that I've been on. The good thing about Babbel is it gives you real world scenarios and treats it almost like a game, so you're having fun while you're learning. So here, while I'm trying to learn singular and plural of French, I'm a genius. And thanks to Babbel supporting my channel, if you use the link in my description, you could get 60% off your subscription to start learning a new language. So please go do yourself a favor, click the link down below. You'll also be supporting my channel in the process, but 60% off to start learning a new language? I think that's a good deal. Thank you again to Babbel for sponsoring today's video. But with that now out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into our first story here, which is actually a trailer. On the last Side Flick, I was talking about them posters for Creed 3, and then like 2 hours after I had dropped that Side Flick, they decided to actually release the Creed 3 trailer. So I know I'm definitely going to be late on talking about this one, but I still had to give my thoughts because the Rocky franchise is one of my favorite film franchises out there, and it's crazy to know it's still pumping and kicking today, where the trailer for Creed 3 is phenomenal. I couldn't have been the only one who sat through this 2-minute, 20-second trailer and thought to myself, I need to go hit the gym right now. I need to work on these pumps. I love everything we're seeing in this trailer. Finally getting a story fully focused on Adonis and his life, not having to connect it to the Rocky universe, which, hey, Rocky has had his good run in the past couple of sequels. And Jonathan Majors playing this character of Damien, this friend who comes back into the life of Adonis and now starts working his way in. It's kind of the vibes I'm getting from Rocky 5. Now, I know we don't like to talk about Rocky 5, but to me this feels like the perfect mixture of Rocky 5 and Rocky 3, with the underdog and the trainee trying to overtake the trainer. And with this also being the first movie Michael B. Jordan has directed by himself, I can't wait to see what other things he decides to direct in the future. So yeah, Creed 3 trailer, definitely treasure for me. I just had to talk about it. Moving on to some horror movie talk real quick, we have here the confirmation that we are going to be getting The Conjuring 4. The Hollywood Reporter came out and said The Conjuring 4 in the works at New Line with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom writer. Now as of right now, we don't have any specific details to what will be going down in The Conjuring 4. All that we know is we have the writer and James Wan is coming back as producer, but I'm gonna be straight honest with you guys, I don't know if I can get that excited for a Conjuring movie that isn't directed by James Wan. Those first 2 Conjuring movies that James Wan directed, oh, they are still some of the best horror movies out there. Well directed, good suspense, creating some terrifying characters and sequences on screen. And then we got The Conjuring 3 that was not directed by James Wan, and I'm not gonna say that was a bad movie, but it did fall flat for me, almost painfully average, like not what was meeting up to the standards of the past 2 movies. Part of me thinks that's the reason they're coming out with the 4th one, because it's like, oh, we can't end the franchise like that. That wasn't that great of an ending. But I also respect James Wan. The man is moving on, trying to do other stuff. He probably doesn't want to go back to The Conjuring when he's already made 2 good movies with that. So I hope whoever they do get to direct this 4th one is really up for the challenge and gives us something refreshing here. I'm also hoping they pick a really good case file from the life of Ed and Lorraine Warren to bring it onto the big screen, because I feel like that's always the fun part of these Conjuring films, is that they were technically true stories. These are actual cases that happen. So yeah, I'm down to see a 4th one, but like I said, without James Wan directing, I'm a little skeptical whether I'm gonna like this one. Let me know what you guys think of The Conjuring 4 and what you would like to see done in it. A couple of weeks ago here on a Side Flick, you guys might have heard me talk about that Marvel is planning to change a couple of things on Disney Plus. A report had come out that Disney is rethinking the way they do their Disney Plus series, and instead of doing 6-part episodes, 9-part episodes, some characters are just going to be getting 1-hour Disney Plus specials, much like Werewolf by Night, and just have those characters introduced that way so that they're ready to show up in the movies. And well, now we got a couple of reports here of some of those characters that are going to be getting the special presentation treatment instead instead of a Disney Plus series. One a couple of weeks back was for the character of Nova, that a lot of people have been begging to see Nova, and it's right now rumored that he'd be getting a special presentation episode, and his origin story has been set up all the way back to Infinity War. It was just kind of an off-screen thing that happened with Thanos destroying the Nova Corps and getting the Power Stone. And now the latest character to be getting a special presentation on Disney Plus is the Silver Surfer. We all know who the Silver Surfer is, and I think we're dying to see this character enter the MCU, and it looks like they want to have it happen through a little 1-hour special on Disney Plus. I love that idea. Now, I do want to let you guys know this is coming from the Cosmic Circus that I said is an up-and-coming reliable source. They have been pretty spot on, and even other scoopers, the reliable ones on the internet, seem to back up their case. Even specifically, a lot of scoopers have added on to this specific story and said that they heard it was going to be a movie and not a special presentation. But either way, that means Marvel has plans for a solo Silver Surfer project. I think a lot of people would like it to be a solo movie with the Silver Surfer because that would just be a great little story to tell. This feels like Marvel may be doing those stepping stones to getting Galactus on screen and doing that as one of the big major events for a future Avenger film, or just an event in general. Because Galactus is heavily tied to the origins of the Silver Surfer. I mean, you can't have Silver Surfer without Galactus there. But I think this is also super telling to why Marvel is leaning into these special presentation 1-hour specials. Because I think every character that is about to get this special presentation was once considered for a Disney Plus series, and a character like Silver Surfer and Nova, those are characters that operate in space, operate on different planets. Imagine the CGI budgets on those things to make 30-minute, 6-9 episodes. That would be so much more expensive than just one dedicated 40 to 50-minute episode. It would also put a lot less strain on visual effects workers, and you could tell a much tighter story without a whole bunch of filler and without the possibility of people complaining. Nevertheless, this is what Marvel is wanting to do, and I much rather see a 1-hour contained special than a 6-9 episode dragged out series. How are you guys feeling about these rumored special presentation episodes, and who would you most want to see? Moving over here to talk about some Spider-Man, we recently had just a dump of information from a really reliable scooper online who was giving us ton of information on Spider-Man No Way Home when those scoops were coming out. Ember on Main is the exact source of all the things I'm going to be discussing on here, and like I said, they have proven themselves super reliable during the Spider-Man No Way Home days, and since this specific information is Spider-Man related, I tend to believe them heavily on this stuff. So just rounding off some of the things they've mentioned here, for one is that they have stated that Tom Holland's suit at the end of No Way Home will be slightly altered for Spider-Man 4. I think the main thing they're going to be altering is making that suit a little less shiny, because while I love the colors and the look of it, it was just a little too shiny for me. Here's a big jaw-dropping one that you think would be big and huge news, but wait till we give you more information. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be showing up in Madam Web, but they will be showing up in the movie the same way Christopher Reeves is rumored to get a cameo in the upcoming Ezra Miller Flash movie, through just cataloged footage of the characters from their own movies. So it looks like there will be a scene in Madam Web where maybe we're looking at the web of the Spider Universe and we'll just see footage from Tobey and Andrew's separate movies, so it won't really be any new footage or those actors coming back to do a quick cameo. Still, I think that's really good though for connecting the worlds and building up to whatever Sony is planning to do. As long as it's more Tobey and Andrew in my life, go ahead, keep teasing them, Sony. They also do mention that Sony does have plans for the Rhino character. It will not be Paul Giamatti's Rhino. It'll be a more comic-accurate Rhino played by a different actor. So I'm assuming this will be someone who just shows up in the Sony spin-off universe, whether he gets his own movie or he just shows up along Morbius 2 or Venom 3. They also confirmed that Gwen will not be the love interest for Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Spider-Man 4, so we can kind of wipe that off the table. Understandable. That to me would leave the door open for Black Cat, and they do mention if Black Cat is introduced, they're going to tone down her sexual appeal. That I can also understand. Black Cat is a very promiscuous sexual person on Spider-Man, and I guess that's just something they don't want to portray across on screen just yet. They also mentioned Scorpion is set to return. Frickin' thank goodness, man, because you hired a great actor, and then you teased us back all the way in Spider-Man Homecoming. We need Scorpion to return. And probably one of the biggest bombshells here that I just don't know how they're going to explain this. We have been been hearing that Sony is set to eventually introduce their Spider-Man for their spin-off universe, and that person will be Tom Holland. That to me is confusing on so many levels, but also is not surprising at all. Sony right now loves Tom Holland. It is their golden boy. That's why we have heard nothing about Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire or even Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. Sony is so dedicated to this version of Spider-Man, and that's who they want the public to know as Spider-Man. But I wanted to explain if it's going to be Tom Holland jumping from the MCU into the Sony universe that we do now know are two separate worlds. They're not happening on the same Earth. Or is it just going to be a thing where they play into that variant category and they just have Tom Holland play a different version of Peter Parker that is now in the Sony universe? That's honestly the version I would rather prefer. We could get two different versions of Peter Parker on screen. I think that'll really only confuse audiences, but it's just the way Sony wants to play things. Now, they did also come out and say that after Spider-Man No Way Home, Sony and Andrew Garfield were sitting down to try and figure out Amazing Spider-Man 3, but creative differences got in the way. They stopped talking about the movie, and they are now reporting that they have recently started talking up again. I'm really curious to what these creative differences can be, especially the history we know that Andrew Garfield has had with Sony. I don't think he's that ready to just get into a solo project with him if it's not done the right way. That's where I hope Marvel somehow steps in or gets in there, because you know Marvel wants them for Secret Wars, and well, if Sony's gonna hand off those characters to Marvel to use them in their movie, they gotta get something in return. Either way, it's just a lot of exciting stuff. Like I said, this comes from a reliable source, so I actually tend to believe it. But I throw it off to you guys. What do you think about these details? What are your thoughts and speculation to what could be happening for the future of the Spider Bros? Anything, everything, be sure and like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.